Our progress report says we are at stage 6, paragraph page 427.
Mhm.
Okay, and our last headword was arrest, Newark type of lesson. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's start with revision. Ready?
Mhm. Yes.
Here we go. Would you rather go on a long flight or a long train journey? Would you rather go on a long flight or a long train journey? I'd rather go
I'd rather
on a
go one flight
long
journey,
flight
long flight
than a
journey
long train
than
journey.
long train journey.
Very good. Do you have very much faith in your government? Do you have very much faith in your government? Yes or no?
No,
I don't have
I
very
don't
much faith
have very much
in
faith
my government.
in my
Yeah,
government.
I think every people is. Okay. About how old is the Christian faith? About how old is the Christian faith? The Christian faith
The
is
Christian
about
faith is
2000
about
years old.
2000 years old.
Very good. Tell me one common use of the future simple. Tell me one common use of the future simple, please. One common use
One
of the
common
future
view
simple
of the future
is to communicate
simple as a
that
communicate
we have just
that we
this
have
moment
just this
decided
moment
to do something.
decided to do something.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Sorry, I forgot to
Sorry,
bring
I
the
forgot to
money for
bring
you.
the money for
I'll bring
you.
it tomorrow. I
I'll bring
promise.
it tomorrow, I promise.
Very good. Tell me another common use of the future simple. Tell me another common use of the future simple, please. Another common use
Another
of the
common
future
use
simple
of the future
is to
simple
make a
is
prediction.
to make a prediction.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I can't remember
I can't
what she
remember
looks like,
what she
but
looks
I'm
like,
sure
but I'm
I'll
sure
recognize her
I'd recognize
when I see
her
her.
when I see her.
Very good. Tell me one common use of to be going to. Tell me one common use of to be going to, please. One common use
One
of
common
to be
use
going to,
of, yeah,
of to be going
of
to,
to be going
is
to
to make a
is
prediction
to make a prediction
using information
using
we
information
already have.
we already have.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Be careful.
Be
That wine
careful,
glass
that wine
is going
glass
to fall
is
off
going
the
to
table.
fall on the table.
Very good. Tell me another common use of to be going to. Tell me another common use of to be going to, please. Another common use
Another common use
of to be going
of
to
to be going to
is to communicate a
is
future
communicate
intention,
a future intention,
something that we have
something that
already
we already
decided to do.
decided to do.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I'm going to go
I'm
to the
going to
cinema
go
next Saturday.
next Saturday
To the cinema next Saturday.
to the cinema next Saturday.
Very good. Okay, tell me what you have decided to do this tomorrow morning. Tell me what you have decided to do tomorrow morning, please. Tomorrow morning,
Tomorrow
I'm
morning,
going to.
I'm going to
What are you going to do?
uh, stay at home.
Stay at home. Very good. Watch TV. Or very good. Okay. In a house, are the bedrooms usually downstairs? In a house, are the bedrooms usually downstairs? No. In a
No,
house, the
in a house,
bedrooms aren't
the bedrooms
usually
aren't
downstairs.
usually
They are
downstairs.
usually
They are
upstairs.
usually upstairs.
Very good. And is the living room usually upstairs? And is the living room usually upstairs? No. The living room
No, the
isn't
living
usually
room isn't
upstairs.
usually
It's
upstairs.
usually
It's
downstairs.
usually downstairs.
Very good. If you had to get to a room that was on the 10th floor of a building, would you take the stairs or the lift? If you had to get to a room that was on the 10th floor of a building, would you take the stairs or the lift? If I had to get
If I
to a
had to
room
get
that
our
was
room that was
on the 10th floor
on the
of a
10th
building,
floor of the
I'd
building,
take the lift.
I picked the lift.
Very good. Is this my top lip? Is this my top lip? No, it isn't
No,
your
it
top lip.
isn't your top
It's
lip.
your bottom lip.
It's your bottom lip.
Do you think women look better with or without lipstick? Do you think women look better with or without lipstick? I think women
I think
look
women
better.
look better with lipsticks.
Very good. Okay. What system of government do you have in your country? What system of government do you have in your country? We have a
We have
democratic
a
system
democratic
of
system
government in my
of
country.
government in my country.
Very good. Is sailing a popular sport in your country? Is sailing a popular sport in your country? Yes or no?
No,
Sailing isn't a
sailing
popular sport
isn't a
in
popular
my
sport
country.
in my country.
Would you like to be a sailor? Would you like to be a sailor? Yes or no?
No,
I wouldn't like to
I
be a
wouldn't like
sailor.
to be a sailor.
Very good. When do we use the auxiliary verb do in a positive sentence with the present simple tense? When do we use the auxiliary verb do in a positive sentence with the present simple tense? We use
We
the
use
auxiliary
the
verb do
auxiliary verb to
in a positive
in a
sentence
positive
with the
sentence
present simple
with the
tense, sim-
present simple
simple
tense
tense when we want
when we
to be
want
emphatic.
to be uh, uh,
Emphatic.
empathic.
Very good. When do we usually use the emphatic do? When do we usually use the emphatic do? We usually use
We usually
the
use
emphatic do
the emphatic
when we
do
want to
when
deny
we want
something,
to deny
something
something
that someone has said.
that
One more.
someone said.
Okay, one more. We usually use
We usually
the
use
emphatic do
the emphatic
when
do
we want to deny
when we want to
something
deny
that
something
someone has
that
said
someone has said
because we know it
because
is not
we
true.
know it is not true.
Ragged, give me an example. Give me an example, please. For example, for example.
Uh,
Okay, say, for
uh,
example,
for example,
if somebody says
if somebody
you don't
says
eat enough
you don't eat
vegetables,
enough
I can
vegetables,
reply,
I can't
yes,
reply,
I do eat
yes, I do
enough
eat
vegetables.
enough vegetables.
Very good. Okay, reply to this sentence using the emphatic form. You don't know what I've got in my pocket. Reply to this sentence using the emphatic form, please. You don't know what I've got in my pocket. Yes,
I
I
do,
do know
yes, I do
what
know
you've got in your
what you
pocket.
got in your pocket.
Very good. Tell me another use of the emphatic do. Tell me another use of the emphatic do, please. Another use
Another
of the
use
emphatic
of
do
the emphatic
is
do
in an
is
exclamation.
in an exclamation.
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 Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I do hate
I
noisy
do
children.
hate noisy
Sh-
children.
she does write beautifully.
She does write beautifully.
Very good. Okay, reply to this sentence using the emphatic form in the past. He didn't cycle home yesterday. Reply to this sentence using the emphatic form in the past, please. He didn't cycle home yesterday. Yes, he did
Yes, he
cycle
did
home yesterday.
cycle home yesterday.
Very good. Okay, reply to these sentences using the emphatic form, okay? You can't
Mhm.
read quickly. You can't read quickly. Yes, I
Yes,
can
you can
read.
read
Yes,
quickly.
yes, I can read quickly.
Yes, I can read quickly.
The weather's been good. The weather's been good. No, the weather
No,
has
the
not been
weather
good. Has not been
what
good.
has not been good.
Very good. She doesn't love her family. She doesn't love her family. Yes, she does
Yes,
love
she
her
does
family.
love her family.
Right? He came to school early. He came to school early. No, he didn't
No,
come to
he
school
didn't
early.
come to school early.
Very good. We should tell him the news. We should tell him the news. Yes, we should
Yes,
tell him
we
the news.
should tell him the news.
Very good. Okay, next, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're hitting the
You
table
are hitting your
with your
table
hand.
with your hand.
Have you ever hit your head getting into a car? Have you ever hit your head getting into a car? Yes or no?
Yes,
I've hit my head
I've hit my head
getting into a car.
getting into a car.
What did happen if you hit a policeman? What did happen if you hit a policeman? If I hit a
If I
policeman,
hit a
he'd
policeman,
arrest me.
he arrests me.
Have you ever seen anyone arrested? Have you ever seen anyone arrested? Yes or no?
No,
I've never seen
I've
anyone
never seen
arrested.
anyone arrested.
Very good. Okay, so that's the end of our revision. Very good, very fast. Let's have new work. Okay, repeat. Fair,
Fair,
fairly,
fairly,
just,
just,
moderate,
moderate,
unfair.
unfair.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word fair has five different meanings, which are as follows: fair hair, industrial and agricultural fair, just, moderate, and funfair. Okay, let's have number one. Number one, fair hair is a noun. Fair hair means light colored hair or blonde hair. For example, people in Northern Europe have fair hair or blonde hair. I don't have fair
Mm.
hair, I have black hair. Number two, industrial fair and agricultural fair are both nouns. In an industrial fair, you can buy cheaper industrial products such as machines, batteries, or car parts. In an agricultural fair, you can buy agricultural products such as plants, seed for planting vegetables, planting materials, pots, etc. For example, I've been to an industrial and agricultural fair. Okay, number three, just. The word just is an
Just.
adjective. It means equal. For
Mm.
example, if I ask everyone in this room 20 questions but only ask you two, it wouldn't be fair. It would be unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
unfair is an adjective. It is the opposite of
Oh.
fair. Number four, moderate
Oh.
is an adjective. Moderate means neither very good nor very bad. We can say it's so-so, moderate. For example,
Moderate.
I speak English fairly well now. Fairly
Mm-hmm.
is an adverb. Fairly means more than average but less than very. Number five,
Mm.
funfair is a noun. Funfair is known as an amusement park or a noisy outdoor event where you can ride on machines, play games to win prizes, etc. For example, Disneyland and Disney Sea in Tokyo are some examples of funfairs. Let's practice. What are the five meanings of the word fair? What are the five meanings of the word fair? The five meanings
The
of
five
the word
meanings
fair
of the word
are fair
fair
hair,
are fair hair,
industrial and
industrial,
agricultural
and
fairs,
agricultural fairs,
just, moderate,
just,
and fun fair.
moderate, and
Fun
fun,
fair.
unfair.
Fun fair. Very good.
Unfair.
Do people become darker and darker in hair color as we go towards the north of Europe? Do people become darker and darker in hair color as we go towards the north of Europe? No.
No,
People don't become
people don't
darker
become
and darker
darker and
in hair
darker
color
in hair
as we go
color
towards
as we
the
go
north
going to
as we go towards
go toward
the north of Europe.
the north than Europe,
The north of Europe.
north of
They
Europe.
become fairer and fairer
They become fairer
and
and fairer.
fairer. Very good. Okay. Have you ever been to an industrial or agricultural fair? Have you ever been to an industrial or agricultural fair? Yes or no?
No,
I've never been
I've never
to an
been
industrial
to an
or
industrial
agricultural
or
fair.
agricultural fair.
Very good. If I ask everyone in this room 20 questions but only ask you two, would that be fair? If I ask everyone in this room 20 questions but only ask you two, would that be fair? No. If you
No,
ask
if
everyone
you
in
ask
this room
everyone
20
in this
questions
room 20
but
questions,
only ask me
but
two,
only ask me
it
two,
wouldn't be fair.
it wouldn't be
It'd
a
be,
fair.
one more.
It
It wouldn't
wouldn't
be
be. It
fair.
wouldn't be
Fair.
fair.
It'd be unfair.
It should be unfair.
Very good. Do they ever have a fun fair in your town? Do they ever have a fun fair in your town? Yes or no?
Yes.
They sometimes
They
have
sometimes
a fun
have
fair in my
a
town.
farm here in my
Do
town.
you speak English fairly well now? Do you speak English fairly well now? Yes, I speak
Yes.
English
I speak
fairly
English
well now.
fairly well now.
Very good. Next, repeat. Pleasure.
With
Pleasure.
pressure.
Very good. Okay, listen. Pleasure is a noun. Pleasure is the feeling of happiness, enjoyment, or satisfaction that you get from experience. For example, it's a great pleasure for me to get up in the morning because I find my work interesting. Yeah. I feel great every weekend because I don't have to wake up early. It makes me happy. It gives me
Mm,
pleasure.
yeah.
Another example is I think it's impossible for life to be full of pleasure all the time. Sometimes there's challenges. Let's practice. Is it a great pleasure for you to get up in the morning? Is it a great pleasure for you to get up in the morning? Yes or no?
Yes.
It's a great pleasure
It's a
for me
great pleasure for me
to get up in the morning.
to get in the morning
Why? Why? Because
because I can breathe fresh air.
Fresh air. Very good. Do you think it's possible for life to be full of pleasure all the time? Do you think it's possible for life to be full of pleasure all the time? Yes or no?
Yes,
I think it's possible
I think it's
for life
possible
to be
for
full of
life
pleasure,
to
to be
full
full
of
of
pleasure
pleasure all the time.
all the time.
Very good. Next, repeat experiment.
Experiment.
Very good. Okay, listen. Experiment is a noun. An experiment is a test done in order to learn something or to discover if something works or is true. For example, some animals like frogs are used for experiments in science class. The students open the frogs and study what's inside it. Poor frog. Let's practice. Do you think it's wrong to use animals for experiments? Do you think it's wrong to use animals for experiments? Yes or no?
No,
I don't think it's
I
wrong
don't think
to
it's
use
wrong to
animals
use
for
animals
experiments.
for experiment.
Very good. Okay, next word is discover.
Discover.
Very good. Okay, listen. Discover is a verb. To discover means to find someone or something, either by accident or because we're looking for them. For example, America was discovered by Europeans in 1492 by Christopher Columbus or by Leif Erikson about the year 1000. Let's practice. When was America discovered by Europeans and who discovered it? When was America discovered by Europeans and who discovered it? America was discovered
America
by
was discovered
Europeans
by
in
European
1492
in
by
1492
Christopher Columbus
by Christopher
or
Columbus
by Leif
or
Erikson,
by Leif
E-
Erikson,
Erikson
Erikson
about the year 1000.
about the year 1000.
Where is the internet useful for discovering new information? Is the internet useful for discovering new information? Yes,
Yes,
the internet
the
is
internet
useful for discovering
useful for
new
discovering
information.
new information.
Very good. Okay, next word is scientist.
Scientist.
Very good. Okay, listen. Scientist is a noun. A scientist is someone who works or is trained in science. For example, I would like to be a scientist. Let's practice. Would you like to be a scientist? Would you like to be a scientist? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'd like to be a
I'd
scientist.
like to be a scientist
Why? Why? Because
because we can find discover something
we
new.
can discover something new. Very good. Okay, next. Repeat tissue.
Tissue.
Very good. Tissue. Okay.
Tissue.
Listen. Tissue is a noun. It is a piece of soft, thin paper used especially for blowing your nose or like wiping your face, like that.
Mhm.
We call a paper handkerchief a tissue. Let's practice. What do we call a paper handkerchief? What do we call a paper handkerchief? We call a
We
paper
call
handkerchief
a paper
a
handkerchief
tissue.
a tissue.
Very good. Okay, next, division.
Division.
Very good. Okay, listen, division is a noun. It is a group of teams that play against each other in a particular sport. For example, there are 5 football divisions in my country. Each division has different players. My town's in the second division. Let's practice. How many football divisions are there in your country? How many football divisions are there in your country? There are,
There are
let's say 5 football
five
divisions
football
in
divisions
my country.
in my country.
Very good. Which division's your hometown in? Which division's your hometown in? My hometown's
My
in the
hometowns
first division.
in the first division.
Very good. Okay, next, repeat.
The okay.
Uh-huh. In,
Okay. In,
within,
but then
on the other hand.
on the other hand,
Very good. Okay, listen. The time now is, what's the time now? Let's say our time here. It's 10 a.m. Okay, if I went out of the room and said, I'll be back in an hour's time, it would mean that I'd be back at 11 a.m. If, on the other hand, I went out of the room and said, I'll be back within an hour, it would mean that I'd be back at any time between now and 11 a.m. Okay, so let's move on to your reading.
oh,
Okay, so Our
Okay.
reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 305. Last headword was late. Okay, please start reading at paragraph page 306. Headword
Okay.
is kept, promise, keep a
Yeah.
promise.
Okay. What is the past simple and the past participle of the verb to keep? The past simple and the past participle of the verb to keep is kept. Have you ever kept animals at home? Yes, I've kept some animals at home. What's the opposite of to keep a promise? The opposite to keep a promise is to break a promise.
Mhm.
Have you always kept your promises? Yes, I've always kept my promises. What's the past simple and the past participle of find? The past simple and the past participle of find is found.
Found.
Did you found?
Mhm.
Did you find English very difficult when you began studying it? Yes, I found English very difficult when I began studying it. Have you ever found anything on the street worth a lot of money? Yes, I've found something on the street worth a lot of money. What else do people do in the evening besides watching TV? People eat, read, go for work, etc. in the
One more.
evening
In
besides
the
watching TV.
in the
Hmm?
evening.
In the evening.
Mhm.
Do you study anything else besides English? Yes, I study something else besides English. What else do you study? I also study Spanish.
Mhm.
Uh, does anybody else in your family speak English besides you? Yes, somebody else in my family speaks English besides me.
Mhm.
What does the word fast mean? The word fast means the same as quick or quickly. Are you fast writer? Yes, I'm a fast writer. Do you work fast when the weather is very hot? No, I don't work fast. When the weather is very hot, I walk slowly. Do you go dancing very much? Yes, I go dancing a lot. Is it easier to dance well if you have a good sense of rhythm? Yes, it's easier to dance well if you have a good sense of rhythm. Do you prefer dancing to fast or slow music? I prefer dancing to fast music.
Mhm.
What are the three forms of do? The three forms of do are do, did, done. What does the word just mean? The word just can mean a short time ago, and it can also mean simply or only. What have I just done? I've just closed your book. Have you just come into the room? Yes, I've just come